Do you want to earn money playing Brawl Stars? Potentially even thousands of dollars? Or maybe you're just a really competitive player and you want to compete against the best and prove that you're one of them. Well, I'm going to teach you how to become a pro player in Brawl Stars. I'm going to tell you what it takes and what's going to be in store for you along that journey. Well, let's get into it. First of all, are there already players that are being paid to play Brawl Stars right now, today? Yeah, actually, even though we're not even 3 months past global release, there are already a few esports organizations that are signing and contracting players to play for them. For example, Nova Esports and PSG Esports, among others. But what about large in-person tournaments with big cash prizes? Those are usually some of the best ways to earn money in esports. Yeah, we already got a couple of those too. You probably heard of the Red Bull MEO tournament, which had a $32,000 prize pool. But one you probably haven't heard of, it's called the GG series, has a 35,000 euro prize pool. So yeah, there are a few big cash prize tournaments that are already happening, and I'm sure there's gonna be more on the way. And the last good way to earn money in esports is through leagues, where you compete every week, and at the end of the season, the winners earn a part of the prize pool. And there are already a couple leagues right now with good sized prize pools. To name a few, the Forge League and Queso Cup both have a prize pool of over $1,500. And at Pro Brawl League, no spoilers, but we're hoping to have a good sized prize pool next season, although maybe not quite as big as those guys. Now, the esports scene for Brawl Stars is still young, so relatively speaking, there isn't much money in the scene yet. But if we can get to the point of an official Brawl Stars league hosted by Supercell, there should be opportunities to even play Brawl Stars full-time as your job. For example, in the official Clash Royale League, again a game by Supercell, there were over 150 players playing Clash Royale full-time as their job during the regular season. Alright, I spent a bit talking about how you can earn money by playing Brawl Stars, but let's talk about how you can actually get to that point. Now, I'm gonna give you advice with the end goal in mind being that you become a signed and contracted pro player for Brawl Stars. But I'm also going to give a lot of general advice that can be really helpful for you if you're just trying to improve and become a more competitive player in general. Now, I want to start this off by, first of all, just sharing why I'm even qualified to make this video. Now, I was a former pro player in Clash Royale for about a year and a half. I played with Mastery GG for about 8 months and with Fresno Finest for about 6 months. Now, I don't think any of these teams really announced that are signings, so here's some proof that I was actually really good at Clash Royale. And hey, if you still don't believe me, feel free to ask anyone who was in the scene at the time and they'll tell you about Rob Stark, may he rest in peace. That was my former in-game name for Clash Royale. But on top of being a former pro player, I also worked for an esports organization. I was a director of marketing for Nova Esports. So I have a lot of insight into esports in general and what it takes to become a pro player. Now, I'll be giving you 5 things that you need to do to become a pro player, and at the end, I'll also be going over my best tips to help you improve as much as possible. All right, thing number 1 that you need to do to become a pro player in Brawl Stars is you need to earn some accomplishments. First of all, keep this in mind. A lot of the people who are signing players are not really good players themselves. They're not amazing talent scouts that just know the best players when they see them. Maybe they play the game casually, but they're often not hyper competitive people who are also the best at the game and recognize the best. So they're not gonna know right away if you are that really good player that you say you are. So you have to earn some accomplishments that show them that you are as good as you really say you are. You need to compete in leagues, you need to compete in tournaments, and preferably you need to do well in them. Now, it is a team game, so you can be a good player on a bad team, but it's going to be best if you get that team accomplishment, and that's really going to be the best way to show them how good that you are, as there aren't many individual competitions in Brawl Stars. And hey, at the end of the day, it's a team success that really matters. Now, if you're looking for a list of different leagues that you can compete in and how to join them, definitely join the Pro Brawl League Discord server, where there is a channel with exactly that sort of information to help you join and compete in different leagues. Now, another really good way to earn some accomplishments is on the leaderboard for Brawl Stars. Now, the leaderboard for Brawl Stars isn't the best way to determine skill, but what I would say is, to really be a pro player, I think you need to make at least one really strong push on the leaderboards to at least show that you can put that amount of time into the game and that you have that level of skill just to be able to do that. Getting your name high on the leaderboards is a good way to get noticed in general, and the longer you can stay higher up on the leaderboards, the more you're going to get noticed. Step number 2, now that you've earned those accomplishments, how do you get that recognition that you deserve? How do you get that attention? How do you attract the attention of those people who are trying to sign pro players? Well, you really need to get involved on social media and create a presence. Create something, a brand around yourself. Make a Twitter account. I'm really going to recommend you make a Twitter account. It's great in general for the community to become recognized and get your name out there. Make tweets, interact with different players. Some other ways you can do it, though, is of course just going in different Discord communities, talking with different people, with different pro players, and just getting your name out there and making different friends. One of the best ways to earn a lot of recognition, while it is also probably the most difficult and time consuming, is to become a content creator. A lot of esports organizations, not only do they want to sign players, but they also want to sign content creators. If you can be both, best of both worlds, and you will be a lot more likely to be signed, although admittedly it's a lot more work and it's a lot harder to do in general. Another good way to gain recognition is by posting helpful guides either on Reddit or other different forums. You can show players, look, here's this advanced guide on how to do something really well. That's a good way of just gaining a little bit of recognition and respect in the community, which can help translate through across the board and other people noticing you. Now, one of the most important things I want to point out as far as gaining recognition and getting people to notice you is it's really important for you to be not toxic. A lot of esports organizations are really looking out for their brand. So if you're a toxic player who is mean to other people or constantly putting people down or just using slurs or other hate speech, they're less likely to want to sign you, even if you are a good player. Now, some organizations care more about this or less about this than others, so it's definitely going to vary by the organization. Sometimes skill matters overall, but it definitely matters in general. Your presence and your brand matters a lot. So try and be helpful and positive. Do not be toxic to other players. Let's build a positive community in general for the help of everyone else. Step number 3, you need to become friends with a lot of other pro players. This one is actually really important and understated. Yeah, of course, you want to be friends with pro players just because then you can play with them and compete with them. But it's important for other reasons as well. As those pro players get signed, honestly, one of the best ways to be able to get signed with another team is for someone who's already on that team to recommend you. So if you become friends with these other pro players, you get them to be on your side, they recognize that you are a good player in yourself as well, then they can recommend you to become signed to their team. And maybe they want you on their team. That's definitely one of the best ways to get on a team, is having people that are already on the team recommend you and recognize you as a talent that they would like to play with you. Step number 4, organization loyalty. This one can definitely help. If you stay in an organization for a long period of time and show them that you really want to be there, that really shows that team, that organization, that you are going to be worth it. You're going to stick with them. And those are the kind of people that you want to keep around. And you're going to be a little bit more likely to become signed if you are at that level. At the least, a lot of times, organizations look within themselves, within their own organization first, before they expand their search outward for talent and people that they want to sign. So that's going to get their eyes on you sooner rather than later and give you just a little bit of a better chance, as opposed to if you were just continuously hopping around from top organization to top organization. Now, one thing you can do is ask different organizations if they're planning on signing players. but definitely don't be too greedy. Be careful about how you ask this. You don't want to be asking this to too many teams. You don't want to be seeming you're just in it for the money, just in it for the fame. You want to find a place that's about you and the place that's going to give you the best chance for success. Now for number 5, and this one is definitely the most important. It's you have to be actually really, really good. Of course, doing all those things above is important, but unless you're actually as good as you really say you are and at that really top level, it's not really gonna matter. So let's go over the best ways to improve as much as possible and actually reach that pro level and what it takes to do that. First of all, one of the most important things, look, practice is important, but good practice is really important. Yeah, you can be one of those players who just grinds Brawl Stars, spends hours and hours and hours playing on ladder and just playing as much as possible. And eventually you will become good through sheer repetition. But as the scene develops more, and if you can't spend that much time in general, having good practice is really important, and it becomes more and more important. But how do you have good practice? Well, you want to face off versus other top players in a competitive environment as much as possible. Yeah, facing off versus other top players on ladder is good, but on ladder you face a lot of not top players, and a lot of times people are trolling, not running serious team compositions, or they're just not playing at the most serious level or to the best of their ability. So you want to have practice in really competitive environments versus good players. So of course you can do that in scrimmages. Ask other teams and other players to set up scrimmages versus you and compete in different modes and different events. Another really good way is of course get in as many leagues and tournaments as possible, as of course that's going to be a competitive environment and it's going to be versus good players. Now having good practice is really important, but I do also want to talk about on playing serious versus playing for fun. There's definitely merit to both. Just because having good practice is really important, I'm not saying that's all you should do. Yeah, if you're limited on time, definitely try and do that as much as possible, as you're gonna get more value out of it. But at the end of the day, you're playing a video game, and really you should be playing it for fun. So make sure you're having fun while you're doing all of this. Yeah, play serious as much as you can when you can, but make sure you don't burn out. Make sure you're having fun and do what it takes to make sure that it's going to be fun. But one of the best things you can do to improve on your own without relying on others is to go back and watch your own gameplay and see what sort of mistakes am I making? How can I improve? This is seriously something a lot of people don't do, and they don't do very well, is going back and watching your own gameplay. It's honestly one of the best ways to improve. You're not going to notice a lot of the mistakes you make in the moment. So a lot of times you do have to go back and watch and see, how am I playing? How could I have played better? Yeah, it's a team game. It doesn't only rely on you. But the way I say it is there's always room for improvement. No matter if you won, no matter if you lost, no matter how you played, you still probably could have played better. You could have done something that was better. So definitely go back, watch your gameplay, see how you could have improved. But actually, another good way too is to have other people watch your gameplay as well. Now, you're not gonna be able to do this that often, but it's definitely good to get other perspectives on ways that you can improve too. Ask other people for advice and criticism, and definitely be able to take criticism well. Also, try and aim to do this for about 30 to 60 minutes a week. I think that's probably a realistic goal to aim for that. Now, the more you do it, the better, but it's never going to be more important than practice. You should always be practicing and having good practice more than you are reviewing your own gameplay, although this is definitely something you should be doing, and it's a good way to improve. Another good way to improve on your own is to watch other pro players play. This is definitely something you should be doing sometimes as well. Look at what they're doing. See how the team is playing. When are they falling back? When are they pushing forward? Are they saving their super? If so, what are they saving it for? What team composition are they running? There's a lot you can learn from watching other top players play, especially if you're someone who's trying to improve. There's a lot of different Twitch streamers and YouTubers who offer great competitive gameplay that you can watch. I would definitely recommend watching any leagues that you can or tournaments that you can, as those are definitely going to be competitive level, but there's other stuff, other top level ladder you can watch as well, which is definitely pretty decent. Now here's something which is low-key kind of really important on the path to becoming a pro player. It's going to be consider becoming really good at just a few select things. Now, if you can, of course, be an all-arounder who's amazing at everything, that is, of course, the best case scenario, but it's also the most work and the hardest to do. So what I would recommend is maybe specializing in a couple different brawlers and maybe a couple different modes, although really you do want to be well-rounded as far as the modes go, but it's okay to be specialized as far as the brawlers. If you're good at different brawlers, as long as you're good at different brawlers in each mode, you're gonna be fine, because then you can fit in with different teams, and as long as it's a couple of different brawlers, you can rotate in and go in on when those brawlers are needed, when those game modes are going on, and you can become specialized at that. And it's going to take less practice to become really good at those specialized things than just becoming a general all-arounder and not being quite as good overall. If you want to see some top-level gameplay, check out the playoffs for Pro Brawl League right over there. That's going to be it for today's video, though. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you later.